Okay, so like I mentioned, I am going to try to get back into writing code and deploying software, web applications specifically, in this new sort of AI enabled era. So, for folks who don't know, I taught myself Ruby on Rails probably starting in 2011, so 14 years ago now, and just worked my way through the kind of self-teaching process. Pretty quickly was able to start freelancing as a Rails developer, specialized in helping folks with their Shopify stores. And through that process, I was able to build a micro SaaS business that became a profitable, calm company that I eventually sold. But I probably haven't written a line of code in, I would say, 7 or 8 years, maybe longer, actually, to be honest. And I really have completely lost touch with what it means to write code, what frameworks people are using, all that sort of stuff. And all the knowledge that I have predates a lot of this AI-enabled processes. And so I think it's going to be fun to relearn code using all these sort of modern tools. And so I was thinking about where to start. And so my goal here is to, obviously I have some sense of this. I'm not completely starting from zero. My goal is to really start from zero in a way that someone could follow along, really starting completely from nothing, because I do feel like a lot of the tutorials that I've seen around like using AI to launch a software application, they do skip over a decent amount of the embedded knowledge. And what I'm going to do is just relearn and dust off this information, and hopefully folks can follow along and learn. So for me, I was thinking about where to start, and I think the starting point is the terminal, even though that's not actually where you spend that much time in terms of writing code. Most of the things in terms of installing a framework or installing a piece of software or opening the code that you're going to use starts in the terminal. And I do think a lot of folks don't really know what that is. This is the terminal app here. So if you just type Spotlight and start typing terminal, you'll open this. And this is like your back door to your computer. It's a way to access some of the components that are not made available to you through the visual layer of the UI. And I just wanted to take a second, because I often found it very confusing at the beginning, just to refamiliarize myself with just what's happening here. So when you open it up, you start here in this home directory, right? And that's basically the equivalent of this here. If you open up your Finder, you should have this home, and it's going to have maybe your name or whatever. And then that's where all your folders are here. One of the commands is ls, which is basically to list everything in here. You can see these directories and files basically match this here. Right. So within the command line, you can cd, which I think is change directory. So you can go into these things. So for example, if you want to cd into documents, and you can tab complete here. So if you start typing and do that, and now, okay, you can see I haven't been using it very much. Boom, you can see what's going on here inside these things. One of the basic things to set things up that folks like to use for learning to code is just to create a code directory where you keep all of your code files in. So I already have this. Apparently, that even though I haven't written any code on this machine, it's a new MacBook, having just done the process of porting over from MacBook to MacBook, it seems like it's kept some of that there. But basically, mkdir is how you make a new folder. So I'm just going to make one called like code 2 just to show an example here. That makes a new... see, I made it inside documents. See, there we go. We need to go back to here. This little tilde is basically a shorthand for your home directory. So if you see it, I already made a mistake here. So I did inside documents. I made that. But if we do mkdir code 2, that should make it there. See, there we go. So now we have a directory there, right? And you can, again, you can cd into code 2, and now I'm like inside that directory. And go back here, cd to the main thing. What else do I want to do? So I'm going to be using Claude a bunch to help get back up to speed here. And let's see what Claude... I actually asked Claude to give me a list of the most important commands. Let's see, PWD. Let's see what that does. PWD. Okay, so that just tells you where you are, right? So user slash Tyler Tringus is equivalent to tilde. Tilde is a shorthand for that. So again, in here in the Finder, user slash Tyler Tringus, that's here. And then you'll often use it as a shorthand for that. So for example, if you do something like that, right, that's the same as slash user slash Tyler Tringus slash desktop slash et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. CD is how you change directory. Go to home. Yeah, and then CD dot is how you go back up. So for example, if you do CD code, right, now I'm in there, CD dot, now I'm back, right? LS, again, is how you list everything in there. mkdir is how you make a new folder, right? Let's say I want to cd into code 2, and then I'm going to mkdir test new, right? Again, we can check that this is all working here. Now I made this test new folder inside of the code 2 folder. Yeah, copy. So that's how you copy a file, CP. MV is to move or rename a file. Yep. And then RM is how you delete a file. Yeah, I remember these. So let's see. So let's do RM test. Okay. Oh, not RM. RM. Let's see if that works. So that's not going to let me do it. So RM is just for a file, but RM-R should have deleted it. Great. Okay, so now we're making stuff, we're deleting stuff. So RM, you can do a file. RM-R, you can delete a directory and all of its contents. And then touch is how you create a new empty file, which I want to do in a second. So one of the main reasons that you want to get familiar with the directory is this kind of stuff, right? This is how you're going to do npm install, which is going to install a bunch of packages and frameworks and stuff like that you need, and also how you use Git. And Git is a tool for essentially storing and versioning your code, I guess is how I would describe it. You can definitely have to do a big Git refresher. That looks good here. One thing I wanted to do is I wanted to clean up this prompt. I think this prompt here is just ugly and we can make it nicer. I asked Claude to do that. How can I customize my terminal prompt? Terminal and command line are basically the same thing. That's this here. This is the command line inside the terminal. To be nicer and to show the current directory. Here you can see the touch file. So this means create a new file. And it's creating the file inside the home directory, right? That's that tilde. Slash, and then it's going to create this file called .zshrc. Things that start with a dot on them are usually like configuration files as a general rule. So those are things that your terminal or whatever are going to go and read with a list of, for example, settings. So I'm just going to copy that. Oh, nope, actually what I want to do. Okay, so this would work, but I think what I want to do is just make sure I'm in that directory. And then I'm going to copy that touch tilde ZSRH. And then it says add this to your .zsrh file. Again, I think sometimes Claude is not the best here because this created it, this .zsrh file. But what I want to do is open it. And I think I know how to do that, but I am going to ask, how can I open and edit my .zsrc file in terminal? And I think I'm going to use the nano command to open that up. But nano, there it is. So nano is this little text editor that happens right in here. So that nano is a command, and you're commanding it to open that file. So now we've changed. We're inside this file. So this is a text file called .zshrc, and we are using the terminal right now to edit it. Right now it just has this content. This pound minimal ZSHRC, and just this is the only bit of code that's in there. This is how you comment out things. So basically things with a pound sign in front of them are just going to be comments. And then things without that are going to be the code, the settings, etc. that might run here. We got it open now. Great. So it says, set the prompt variable. So I'll do this. Copy that over. And so that should show the current directory path. Let's add colors and get information to your project. That sounds useful. We'll just go ahead and do it. We'll copy all this actually. Okay, and just because I want to make sure how can I save a file from Nano? Yeah, because it's not obvious. Control O. Let's see. That's right here. Okay, so you got your stuff along the bottom here. So that up arrow is control, obviously, and then these are your options. Write out is apparently means like save and exit. Let's try that. Control O. File name to write and enter. Then press Control X. We edited that. Also, the things that have dot files are usually not going to show up in your Finder. That's one of the things that's unique about them. So, for example, we can go back and we can open it up. You can see all that stuff that we added is now saved in there. So we can, again, Control X and we're done. Then what it says is we need to reload it. So let's try that. Ah. Okay. That's interesting. So you can see how it's changed this prompt. Basically, it's given it slightly different colors. It's decided instead now to, yeah, that's something we can tweak in the future, but I do think that's a little bit better. But that gives you a basic overview on how to edit files and create directories and generally navigate the terminal. One other trick that I think is useful is you can press the up key to go back and reuse some of the common commands, and down key. So that's going to take you back through the history of the things that you typed out and entered. So if you want to go back and, again, reuse some of those, it's nice. You can press escape to stop doing that and go back to nothing. What else? Yeah, I'm going to stop there for a second. I think the next thing I'm going to do is dig into making sure that Node and NPM and all that stuff is installed. But I'm going to go ahead and close this out.